Fox bodies? Is that a Fox body behind you?
This is a Fox. Well, look, clarity. Fox Mustang. The Fox body was never mentioned by Ford. That's an.
It was just Fox.
Mm-hmm. So as an OG, that body makes me cringe. Caveat: I do catch myself using it every once. But that's just to communicate to people, because when I say Fox, they're like, "Huh? Where's the body?"
Welcome to the Off the Road Again podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Ross.
I'm KJ.
And this is our podcast about anything and everything off-road. Tonight, we're still socially distanced. It's literally the only way we can record the show. I'm in the Midwest, Ross is in the Northeast, and KJ's all the way on the West Coast. So we're back to full time zones. My other computer's still open. I got to close that. Sorry. To the audio listener, that didn't bother you at all, but it was going to bug me when I post the video later. So welcome, KJ.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for having me, guys. Good evening.
Thank you for joining us. So the news this week kind of wasn't.
There's no news.
King of the Hammers is happening.
So King of the Hammers has happened.
Yes. By the time you're listening to this, Hammers will have already concluded.
I had figured out that being a podcast producer means I'm basically a Time Lord, because I have to always think about when the show will air, and that's how we should talk about it on the show.
Right.
Try being a magazine editor.
Right.
The
lead times are even farther.
Yeah, we dabble in like the short lead time stuff, with some of the embargoes and press releases, but usually we're getting that information like 12 hours before we write something or record. It's not like, writing a February mag that you have all the info in November.
Right.
So anyways.
Tell us about what you've driven lately.
What have I driven lately? So Grand Wagoneer.
I haven't driven anything. They don't
Grand
get
Wagoneer
too far away.
I had the Series 2 Obsidian Grand Wagoneer, which went away on Monday.
Wow.
It was.
Is that the longest name for one?
Technically Series 3.
Well, Series
2 Obsidian 4x4.
Obsidian.
Yeah. So I think the base was like 94, and this one was optioned to 109. So big. So
a house. You drove a house.
Not in Connecticut, but maybe
or anywhere anymore.
It was the size of the house too. The thing's enormous. It looks great from the front. Doesn't look so great from the back. The interior is spectacular, and it's got the 6.4, which is the shining star aside from the Macintosh stereo. So yeah, wrote some words about it. That's on UTV Driver. Speaking of time lording, it'll have been live for 2 weeks by the time the show posted. But it was a nice rig. It gets a lot of stares from pretty much everybody in a Suburban or in like an Explorer.
Did you park it next to any full-size pickup trucks?
I want to say no.
Okay.
Why?
Well, you'll have to stop me if I've already told this on the podcast. It's like I saw one in town. Like I saw one drive across the main thoroughfare down here near me, and as it went by, a lifted F-150 was right behind it, and just in front of it was a Toyota Crew Max with the short bed. And all of a sudden, it didn't really look like a massive Jeep anymore. It just kind of looked like a regular SUV. I know it's huge for. Can we call it a Jeep? Like
it's sort of.
I think Jeep would expect you to call it a Jeep.
Well, it doesn't say Jeep anywhere on it though.
It says Jeep in one place on the entire vehicle, and that is it's like a stamp into the side of the taillight. You literally can't see it unless you're looking for it. It's not backlit or anything. It's just like it's maybe 2 inches long by like an inch high. That's the only place it says Jeep. Otherwise, it says Wagoneer up front and Grand Wagoneer out back. So, yeah, it's 214 inches long, which by Jeep standards is enormous, but by Suburban or Escalade, or even like you think Excursion, the Excursion dwarfs this thing. But it's nice. I averaged 11.7 miles per gallon, which admittedly was, a lot of idling just because of taking pictures. And it was like I think it was 12 degrees with a wind chill of -5 when I was taking pictures. So I just let it idle. I don't usually do that. But yeah, so that left on Monday yesterday.
Come on.
And was replaced by the Jaguar F-Pace Svr, which makes a nice noise. It's the loudest factory. That's it. Yeah, that's the only place on the vehicle where it says Jeep, except I think when you start it, it flashes it on the gauge cluster. But yeah, that went away and the Jaguar is just like the opposite. It's smaller than you think it is, and it's so rowdy, and it has a presence completely for the opposite reason.
You said F-Pace, correct?
F-Pace SVR. So 550 horsepower, supercharged 5-liter, and
Bluish.
very, very blue. $4,500 paint blue.
Ooh.
It's like the only option on this thing is paint. But it's, I've only put like 10 miles on it.
I am mad Googling.
Stupid loud. It's like, I remember when the F-Type came out and all the journalists were driving it in California. I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but a couple of people got pulled over because that very well could be the one that's parked 4 feet away from me right now. But a bunch of journalists got pulled over because the stock exhaust on the F-Type was so loud. And this is the same engine, and it's unbelievably loud, but it sounds great.
Does it
Cool.
still have the P0s on it? Is that what you're driving right now in winter? Okay.
It has winter tires on it.
Okay.
Yeah. And allegedly will do a 4-wheel burnout in first gear from a 15 mile per hour roll.
Allegedly.
Russ, you'll find out and let us know.
I will. Yeah. Somebody told, they've just relayed that news.
Did you see someone on the street do that?
Same car going.
Same blue one?
Yes.
Really? Allegedly. Oh.
So I'm going to drive it up. I'm going to put probably like 250 miles on it this weekend. Yeah, we'll see. It's fun.
It's
Makes
blue.
It's blue. And yeah, other than that, the only bit of news that I have is the Lexus. So KJ, just to fill you in, I have a GX 460 that is currently being, some would say modified and some would say fucked, but
Crucified.
Yeah. So lift, bumper, wheels, tires, winch, all that stuff is in process right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Bumper.
Interesting.
Yep.
Wheels is what I left off my list in the show notes.
It's gonna be
What's the end play once it's done? Where are you going?
the end play? So it's the ATV rider, UTV driver, like do it all tow rig and off-roader project. So the goal is daily driver that I can also take to the trail and off-road in comfort, and also hook up a trailer and tow 6,000 pounds without any kind of worry.
Wow. Good luck, man. That's everybody.
Thanks.
That's everybody's pie in the sky is daily driver. First thing.
Yeah. Well, that's why I started there and not with anything else. So
good luck, dude.
thank you. So that's all I got.
I'm trying to get to your image that you sent me.
Which one?
The one when you dropped it off. There it is. Get it.
All right. It was a real life Tetris trying to squeeze all the stuff into the back of that truck. I was expecting it to be a lot easier to fit, but it was not great visibility out the back when I went to drop it off.
There it is.
So that's at the shop.
Okay.
Yep.
Looking
So she's
very.
gonna go up. How big is the lift? How much lift do you put on?
So it's a 2 to 3. So it's the Ironman Foam Salt Pro kit. So it's 2 to 3. You can set it anywhere between 2 and 3. The goal is to just have it level, have no rake at all.
Right.
And it depends on exactly where the bumper and the winch cause it to settle. So we'll see. It's probably about 4 or 5 inches taller than it is in this picture by the time it's done.
We had all that conversation about winching, and I still don't really want to put one on the Suburban, but now we have 10 to 15 inches of snow predicted in the next 24 hours. Part of me is kind of being like, I should have put a winch on it.
Yeah, but you've seen the options for the
Suburban. Yeah, I hate all of the winch bumpers. None of them are good.
So bad.
I'm gonna have to like pay somebody to fab one and make it nice.
Don't you hate that when the aftermarket, and what year's your Suburban?
A 2017, which is the worst part.
New Suburban,
Yeah,
okay.
like
There's good.
I mean, on the
winch
other
bumper
side of
options
it,
for
you know,
ones.
most of the older rigs and stuff, the aftermarket is run away from them, and they don't cover or have any type of anything that quote unquote looks good, you know. And
right.
About a 17 Suburban and no aftermarket bumper that looks good. It happens to the best of us, man. You know, you gotta get somebody to make something cool.
It's like if I went back to like from like 07 to 13, I feel like there's more available right now. I was trying to find, I did see a sweet GMC Suburban the other day on Cars and Bids.
Oh boy.
And it was a Cummins swapped.
Nice.
Oh wow.
And it was great. And that like,
hell yeah.
And it's a 2500 too. So it was a 2500 6BT Cummins. So that's how many valves? 12? 24.
The 12 valve Cummins. Okay. I guess knee jerk would be, it'd be cooler if there was a newer engine in it, a newer Cummins.
Right.
But that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he did it on the on a budget. I think he got it from a 1990 Dodge Ram military airport tug.
Oh boy.
Oh wow.
So it had only done like 11,000 miles.
Oh wow. Probably a lot of idling.
Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
You guys, you've seen the Duraburb conversions where people throw the 6.6 turbo diesel Duramax Suburban 2500. That's a business case right there.
Yeah, there's an outfit that does those. I've seen a couple of different shows and everything, and I don't know the name of the guys that do that or the outfit that does that, but I mean, very clean. I've seen them that look like they were placed in there from the factory, and we know that they weren't. It's very.
What is like running that? Can you do carb on that? Do you have to run it through?
Oh, I believe across the board, that type of thing would have to go to a referee or be inspected and approved, if you will, just because of, let's say you're using a later model truck. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, most of that stuff, you're good if you're putting it in anything old. And when I say anything old, that's still, I believe it's pre-73 or pre-74. After that, it's even though it's an old vehicle, you still have to deal with inspections and having it legal.
It looks like some of these are the same body style or the same generation as my 17.
What, the Duraburbs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember they were doing that on the 800 GMT 800 trucks, and they were pretty cool.
Oh man, come on. Google's failing me right now.
So, anyways, Chris, do you want to talk about your John Deere towing experience?
I did. Of course, I didn't prep my own photos.
Oh.
Why would I not have pulled up my own photos to quickly produce the show? But so I wrote an article for UTV Driver. I did a tire review. I got a set of Vredestein Pinza Pinza ATs. It's kind of a less aggressive all-terrain tire. And I put them on the Suburban because I wanted an all-terrain tire, but I've had KO2s, I've had Toyota Open Country AT3s, and they're just freaking loud. And what Ross was talking about before about daily driver, and KJ was like, that's the goal, right? This is the daily. It's going to do 90% of its life being our family sportsmobile, running kids to practice, and tonight it takes us to band concert in the sleety weather. So like, it's a very much less aggressive tire, but it's got the E load rating. I think I've talked about them before on the show.
Oh, you got E's? I didn't realize you put E's on there.
Yeah, they're E because they're the LT. So because I went,
I thought you did P's.
No, I changed the width. I got a 275 instead of a 265, and the only tire I could get was an LT then. Once I went to that width. And so I've been super happy with them. I've driven to Colorado out and back. They were super quiet on the interstate. And then they're the triple peak snowflake rated tire. And so like we immediately drove into snow in Colorado. They handled that. We're going to see how they do tomorrow with 10 inches of snow on the ground. But like I drug this John Deere Gator around for a little bit to take photos with for the tire review, and had an absolute blast with it. And then of course, because I had kids with me, eventually we put the kid in the driver's seat of the,
as you do.
We put him in the driver's seat of the Gator, and he just drove off. Like, no,
freedom.
Like we're going to the left, and he was like, bye, I'm out. Like, and he just drove off. And I was like, oh, well, he'll come back eventually.
That's
like,
awesome.
But on a dirt road, like, where's he going to go?
Yeah.
But actually, like, it wasn't so much about the tire while we were out there. I hadn't had the Suburban in anything other than like a dirt road. And we went out to my buddy's farm about 2 hours west of here. And so like, it was dirt. Like, it wasn't anything fancy. We weren't doing anything crazy. And it seemed to handle everything just fine. I even got it flexed out a little bit on some of the gnarlier. I was like, I don't flex anything ever. And this isn't anything impressive. Like, I know it's not going to be amazing, but like,
he's articulating a little.
Yeah. But that front air dam is the worst thing ever. I'm probably I don't want to just out and out rip it off, because again, how many of the percentage of its lifetime on road with better MPGs, like it's going to be higher. But at the same time, like some of the gnarlier sections we went through, none of the side steps were hitting on anything. I didn't feel there were some places where the breakover angle should have failed me. Like I should have had tires down the hill on either side. I should have drug, right? And it never did. And so it kind of gave me a little more confidence in it for being the fancy trim and all of that. It was kind of nice, actually. I didn't expect it to do as well as it did. But now, instead of like out and out lift, I might just go level kit with a spacer in the rear and just call it good. And I think it's like 2.5 in the front and 1 in the rear, and we'll just leave it. We'll let it go.
You'll say, I need more tire.
Probably.
Right, exactly.
Then you need 285s. Yeah, that's how that goes.
Can we get 35s? No, we're not doing that.
I know you can fit 285s on a stock Suburban.
Well, 285s were on it before, because that's what the Premier wheel.
What was the ratio?
50 or 55, yeah. 285, 55, 22.
Yeah.
I had rubber bands for tires. I don't want those. Yeah. I love the sidewall I have on these. I'm actually very, very happy with it. But it's going to lead me hopefully to my next thing that I pitch you, TV driver. And nothing reaffirmed it more than my 10-year-old being out there with me yesterday. He was like, can we go do that again? Because he wants to get back behind the wheel of something. And so side-by-sides are kind of the place where it's easiest to stick a kid, other than like a go-kart.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they have youth-sized side-by-sides.
Oh, there you go.
I probably won't let him ride an ATV, just because I have a pediatric nurse for a mother who has told me she would murder me if I let my kid get hurt on one of those. And my oldest son, right before baseball season started, had a friend riding on a quad. The other kid turned real sharp and rolled the quad and broke that kid's femur, who was riding on the back, and he didn't even play baseball all summer.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably go side by side versus quads. But yeah, it was kind of nice. We did it all super fast. It was out and back, quick, dirty trip. Got it back in time for football, just to be ready to be disappointed. So good times.
So anyways, what's
this might have updates. KJ's got more fun stuff. So
KJ does have more fun stuff. So
he just got back from a trip.
Yes, he just got back. Yes.
Did.
Yes.
So KJ, before we dive in for the listeners, why don't you give us your elevator pitch of what you've done and where you are now?
What I've done.
Yeah. What's the quick and dirty of your resume?
Okay. All right. Well, I guess to the quote unquote make a long story short, I've done a lot, and I surprised myself with everything that I guess I've done, and what's now going on 24 years of doing this, first as freelance, but 18 years as a staff person. with what's now the MotorTrend group. Several other companies owned it prior, but it's now MotorTrend. And coming up on my 18th year with the company, again, collective freelance about 24 years, and I've done a lot. I've done some really cool things that I think people have probably seen and followed in the various magazines I've worked on. And now in the online space, doing more of the same, just keeping things moving. But it's almost impossible to highlight just one thing. So I've done a lot of stuff, and trust me, I really surprised myself with the things I've done.
That's good. No, it's always good when you can, even if proud isn't the word, then surprise is a good backup.
It's surprise, because when you look back at let's just say ground zero, when you first get started, doing what I've done and what I'm doing now wasn't in the script at all.
We 100% understand that.
So you didn't set out 18 years ago trying to go to the 2022 Tundra launch?
There it is. I didn't know what a 2022 Tundra launch would be. You know what I mean? It's none of this was prescribed. It's just good fortune and definitely hard work. It's work ethic instilled in me a long time ago. From day one, basically, and you just keep grinding and doing your thing, and ultimately good things hopefully will happen. I've been fortunate.
Yeah, I mean, keeping at it is, certainly the driving force to throw the pun of all puns out there. But so you've been up to some fun stuff lately. You want to talk about the Mustang behind you first, or do you want to talk about Tundra first?
Sure. Well, what do you want to hear about first? Let me talk about the Mustang behind me, and I hope that I was thinking about it. I hope this is a good set to use, as far as talking to you guys. But the Mustang behind me, and excuse the discoloration here. This should be black. There should be headlights here. I had a front end accident. It's a front accident for me and a rear end accident for the car I hit. So got torn up. I ended up fixing the other guy's car, and the process of fixing someone else's car at a large sum puts your car somewhat on a stall. So we managed to get everything straightened and put back together as far as the pieces, but obviously there's no black shot on it anymore. But this was a Mustang and Super Ford's project car, one of the first cars that I built when I got on 5.0 back in 2006. I got on the magazine in 2005, and the next year I jumped into a project car. And that was this one that involved taking it down to absolute nothing and completely rebuilding it outside. So there you go. There's how she started. Yes,
jeez.
That was the beginning, and that was immediately after that photo, my wife asking, "What are you going to do with that thing?"
That's how it always starts.
And
oh my God,
that's what it was before the accident. So I'm hoping that in time, right now it's the ultimate garage find, if you will. People ask about it. The people that follow the magazine, they know about the car. They ask about it all the time when they see me, or I get contacts through social media. Do you still have that T-top car? Do you still have the coupe? And I do still have it. Right now it's not going anywhere. It's just a matter of time. And what's the other part of that equation? Time and money.
Time and money.
If only us car guys had unlimited time and money, it would be.
Well, I try lotteries every once in a while to try to get money, and it doesn't work out. But trust me, if it ever does, ever, remember that photo you just showed. It'll look like.
Yeah. So what's under the hood there?
Right now, it's a 352-inch small block Ford. 352 is a very weird engine mathematic that my engine builder came up with after I broke it 2 times.
Okay.
I broke it twice and came up with 352, and that's probably the last cut that it could take. It's an 8.2 deck 302. It's not a 51-based engine. Axon Novi 2500, intercooled with a Vortec Igloo, water-to-air intercooler, makes just about 1,000 horsepower at the feet and 780 pounds of torque.
And it weighs, what, like 26, 27?
It's a tank?
No, sir. It's a tank. It's
really
got full interior. It's got a big speaker box in the back. It was a show and go car, legit. A show and
Yeah.
go car, ran 9 seconds.
Oh shit.
On a drag radial on a street tire, basically. And it weighs, with me in it, in my svelte trim, 30 pounds. So it's a tank.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Dude, that's so great.
That sounds like it can actually put power down though, which
Oh yeah,
doesn't-
it gets the power down. We figured out how to get the power down. Suspension is really, once you get those bugs and tricks worked out, it runs really hard.
it's not IRS, is it? It's still
No, it's solid.
solid.
It's got a 9-inch rear and then just tubular stuff up front.
Man, those 9-inch Ford rears have made their way into everything. Like,
Oh yeah,
you go to an
I mean
off-road
trucks
park,
even.
yeah, on a Saturday, like most of the XJs that are wheeling, blues and blacks probably have Ford 9-inch rears.
Proving himself as don't get me wrong, you can break pretty much anything because power or torque is going to find the weak link, but for the long run, they really are a very stout differential, stout rear end.
So what have been some of your favorite builds that you've done over the years? Because you've been party between the 5-liter world and diesel power. You've been around some pretty diverse and pretty wild stuff.
There's been some cool stuff. Of course, Mustang, there's been more Mustangs that I've been personally involved with building, or just cars that I've seen, other enthusiasts have put together. It shows them some really standout cars. On the truck side, man, it's almost like I don't want to say one because somebody else is going to get pissed off.
Yeah. A truck guy's offended that no.
Yeah, right. But there's been some really, really cool ones. And I mean, take mine out of the equation for the moment. I've just been kind of pilling on my own truck over the last 8 years that I've been involved. There it is. That's BluMajik now, formerly Big White. BluMajik in this current state. And that's been a little labor of love. I picked it up in 2005 as just a cream puff dually that we bought from a couple up in Santa Maria, low miles and 7.3 power stroke diesel Ford engine. And it's just been one of those deals where they say you keep those 7.3s and they'll run forever. And that's proving itself as sort of true. And honestly, given what I do and being able to play with new trucks and drive new trucks all the time and lust after them, I can't do that $90,000 ticket. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just figured we'd go at trying to make this one as good as it can be. And part of it was this cosmetic deal where you take a plain white truck and kind of spruce it up with a newish color, the matte and the metallic and stuff, and then relight it and clean it up. Just really a spruce up, and mechanically she's solid.
It looks good. Is it? It's hard to make out what kind of blue that is. Is that like what is Ford's like performance blue that they have like on the Raptor?
Well,
the GT.
Sonic,
similar.
One of the blues. What is like called? I'm not sure their latest blue color, but that's not Ford per se. That was my vinyl guy just giving me his color book and saying pick one.
Nice. It was great. Is
Thank you.
the 7.3 stock or is it?
No, it's hopped up. It's got ATS diesel performance. Yeah, who had stock?
As you do. As you do. Fair.
ATS diesel performance, turbocharger on it. The fuel system's upgraded. It's got bigger injectors in it, DDP injectors, big pump, an air dog pump. So I mean, it's set up to do as good as it can as unmodified internally engine. It is a stock internal engine with 180,000 miles on it. So I mean, that's something to be concerned of. But we're just below the 500 horsepower threshold for these engines, and it makes just about 800 pound-feet of torque.
That's healthy.
Yes, indeed.
That's healthy.
Yeah,
that's right at that threshold before like you start worrying about some old stuff underneath going.
Yeah, and I really don't want that. Getting into another engine probably wouldn't be too difficult, but it runs good. You know, there's really no reason to push that envelope. There's this what the limits are of a 7.3. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and you have enough.
This catastrophe, and I've blown up engines before. So
yeah, I was gonna say you have enough other stuff to play with, but
correct.
Experience blowing things up is another way to look at it.
Yep, that's when it was Big White. And that's the rendering there that the vinyl guy put together for me and finished.
Yeah, I really like that blue. That's nice.
Thank you.
I may have been considering wrapping the Suburban the other day.
Oh,
it's a good play. It's a good play, and I'll let you know why I did it. I wrapped instead of painted because why this car here isn't painted. I'm a little particular. Okay, I'll own that. And I really was concerned about the car looking like it did before the accident. With my truck, while I didn't want SEMA, no paint or anything like that,
right.
And I really was talking about just reshooting it white, not even changing the color. While I didn't want SEMA, I still wanted a quality paint job, something that if I invested in it and put the paint on it, there wouldn't be runners, it'd just be good, and it would be something that lasted. And when I went to 2 different painters, quality that would have done a good job, my quotes were between $12,000 and $15,000.
I was gonna say 12, and I actually thought I was gonna be low. I thought that was gonna be a Midwest price is where my estimate was gonna be.
I mean, in all fairness, that is a lot of paint that they.
It's a lot of paint.
It's
a lot of paint, and it's not like, oh, come on, man, that's too high. I totally get it. It's just I'm not I wasn't of that investment. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in talking to the guys that do my vinyl, longtime friends at Raceskins, Michael and Terrell Smith, they said, well, look, you can wrap it and come in much lower than 12K, much lower than 15K. You can wrap it out the door for about 35, 4,000, and you don't like it, you have an accident, whatever have you, peel it off, put another piece on, you get tired of the blue, we'll make it another color. We'll just put another color on it. So right now I'm really happy with it. The durability, of course, is a concern here in Southern California with scorching hot temperature and hard sun and that type of thing. So the plan is to keep it covered and just try to keep it clean and protected. And the forecast is for about 7 years if you take care of it. So
really,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
So we had some friends on recently that they run overland and adventure rallies, and we were talking about bringing my full-size Suburban, and they were like, homie, you should not. It is going to get so scraped up. And I was like, well, what if I wrapped it? If I had a wrap on it, then maybe I don't care quite as much as that branch runs by.
No, and really get tricky with it, just clear wrap it.
True.
Who knows? You know what I mean?
Clear 3M clear. Yeah, you can do that.
Clear wrap it and get scratched up. And it's like, oh, your truck's ruined. Like, not so fast, but
thing is, that's not going to make the Suburban any narrower.
No. The scratches are still going to be there.
So little scratches and dents, or there's a fine line.
But no, like
big truck on small trails still does not end well for metal on.
I'm trying to do the mental math, Ross, of like, do I wrap it or go try to find a trail rig for $3,500? Like, I feel like the wrap is the better investment.
See?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm definitely an advocate for wrap now after doing what I've done and experiencing the process. As long as there are caveats, you have to have someone legit do it. Let's put it that way.
I don't want to DIY that.
Slap vinyl, but you don't want to DIY it, and someone who's really got experience with it. Do your research if you do go for it. That's for anybody watching this. If you're going to wrap a vehicle, do your research with the installer. They're called installers, and see what type of work they've done, et cetera, and that helps you in the process for sure.
That is also a rabbit hole of Instagram videos that I can go down and just watching people wrap stuff of how fast they do it and how well they do it. Just it's almost
money if you do
it's almost relaxing watching someone do that who's good at it.
An artist, yep.
Sends my OCD into a tizzy.
You don't have OCD. I have OCD.
Oh.
That's why he pointed out the fact that it's bothering him that front behind him is not black.
Oh
Yes.
man, this has been, I mean, honestly, that's been one of the things about bringing the car out. I've got buddies, you know, I'll bring the car out, just throw some lights in it, you know, and bring it out. It's ready to go, but
It's not the right color.
It's a car that, and it's not a matter of, yeah, I'm proud of it. Let's put it that way, but it doesn't make me move. But you know, it's been in show. The first show that it was at, and I reluctantly went to this show, it won first place. It was a really nice finished product, and I still am very proud of it, because me and my very good friend Saul Gutierrez and other people contributed and made it what it was. And for a long time, it was in the Fox Mustang space, iconic, I guess, you know, through the magazine. A lot of people knew about it, and a lot of people just couldn't believe that, first and foremost, that it even existed. It's a coupe with T-tops, and people thought that was, you know, something that was impossible, but yet I had one. I found one and I had one. So it's one of those deals where when I was gonna get it painted, and the guy who actually did shoot it, he ended up having a setback, let's put it that way. And I was just uptight about him doing it, and then, you know, someone else doing it. Respect to them, and maybe they can paint, but I'd be the guy that says, oh God, it doesn't match.
And then you're stuck looking at that forever.
Yeah.
That's OCD, my friend.
That is the truth.
So
that's the truth.
It's been like this for a minute, and I flirted with, and we're talking about wrapping, taking it to my guys and having them just wrap it and that. So we'll see. But again, time and money, and quite frankly, when I had to fix the car that I hit, it took a little juice out of me. There's no question about it. You know, I paid a lot of money to get that guy's car fixed, and we're good. And it was all, you know, everything is lovely, but that took a lot of energy, because, you know, mental energy, because that was the same money that I could, you know,
Used to fix your own car.
Yeah.
The comeback is hard, guys.
There's only so many resources, whether it's brain power or bank account power.
And honestly, this all happened as I transitioned from 5.0, which was closed. I was transitioning into diesel power and going into truck, and the learning curve about trucks and about diesels was something that I had to really put my focus on, because I was running the magazine, you know, so I had to really jump in that and be all in, and not be able to think about this car and doing stuff with this car. So that's also been a part of why it's been sitting so long.
Makes sense. So having been in and around the diesel world for a stint, at least, any thoughts on where diesel goes from here for the US? You know, because the last 10 years have been the roller coaster of all roller coasters for diesels. And we can, you know, thank Volkswagen and Co for most of that. But, you know, we've also seen a huge increase in diesel availability on the pickup side of things, and even in some of the SUVs, you know, with GM's 3-liter and some of the other options. But, you know, and Land Rover was doing a small diesel. So any thoughts or guesses as to what comes next?
I'm hoping that my theory is that diesel, despite what's happening right now, diesel will sustain. One of the things that I've always thought about this as it's been happening is like in Law and Order, Lenny Briscoe, the detective in Law and Order, one of the things he always said was follow the money. And when you think about this from a revenue standpoint, and you think about commerce, and you think about all the money that's involved around vehicles, be it trains, be it trucks, or whatever, ships that move with diesel. It's hard for me to just call or jump into it'll be gone forever. One day, maybe, and I'm forecasting long after I'm gone, and maybe a lot of other people are gone, and we're truly in a George Jetson world, you know what I'm saying? But in the modern space, I'm still of reluctance to say, despite what the manufacturers are doing and bringing EV in, and don't get me wrong, I'm okay with EV. I think EV is really coming on as a good thing. And yes, KJ Jones said that. I think coming on as a good thing, but I don't think diesel will just go away. And then when you think about like this Toyota that I just experienced, the Tundra and the iForce Max hybrid system, you know, it's hybrid gas, but I don't see why hybrid diesel couldn't be something that could come about. I mean, it's been out there in some phases, but to put it into modern truck and vehicle platforms, I'm not an engineer now, don't get me wrong, but I think that could probably be looked at, and somebody will come up with it.
Aren't a lot of the city buses hybrid, diesel,
city buses,
electric hybrids?
Electric hybrid. I don't know if it's diesel. Well, I guess it would be diesel because that was what they ran on prior to hybrid conversion. But see, here in Los Angeles, you're getting a mixed bag of everything. You got a lot of CNG. You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. Ours are low.
Yeah, we don't.
You have a lot of CNG. So I haven't seen that, but I wouldn't doubt that that's possible or probably out there somewhere. I'm not familiar with it personally.
Yeah, I mean, that really does seem like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, from an economy standpoint, you know, they're kind of raving about what the Toyota does. I believe it's like 1920.
1921-20.
2120, right? 1921-20.
That's fuel economy for those.
And that's really good. Don't get me wrong, that's really good. But when you think about diesel economy going in, you know, how much better can it be?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is how much weight did they add with the battery packs on this, but also part of it is like, I mean, you know, the Cummins guys always talk about getting 25 unloaded on the highway. It's like that truck weighs more than this thing. So is it an uphill battle being fought for the sake of fighting the battle, or is there, you know, something really else that's, you know, there's a big break-even point in the environmental aspect too between.
Well, see, you're about to jump off a pier right there, Ross.
Dude.
You had your toes on the edge of that pier just now, son.
Bite my tongue. I'll save it for off the record.
Dude, I was still Googling diesel hybrids. I didn't even get to hear
it. He knows what he said.
No, I mean, everything's so convoluted because the fallout with diesel was really the emissions scandal. And at the same time, as we dive further and further into the EV world, everybody's beginning to at least talk about, you know, what kind of, how hard on the earth is creating the battery packs. And, you know, it's one of those like moving target things where nobody's really ever going to be able to put all of this into Excel and come up with a formula for what's better.
That was one of those studies. Remember, I think we definitely talked about on the show that I read from, God, it was back east. It might've been like a something institute. It was not MIT, but it was something in Mass, but they were talking about battery cycles, and then battery cycles with virgin batteries versus battery cycles with recycled components. And the recycled components ended up lasting 50% longer before they saw the 30% decrease that the virgin cycles were having. So these were getting 700 cycles, these were getting 1400 cycles before they. So in the long run, it might be that actually the recycled components are better for it. So it's just, there's too many unknowns still.
Too many
unknowns. There's a lot of unknowns, and we don't have, we don't have a real scope on when those unknowns will be sorted out. Pardon me. But as I said, I think that people like me, you, and Chris, Ross, I think we need to be cognizant of money and revenue in this. And the other thing is, it's a buzz term now, but it is development of infrastructure that will support trucks or cars or whatever they plan to have on the road en masse in the next 10 years or so. It seems like a slow trickle from where I sit and what I'm watching. If there's some type of boom where there are charging areas and facilities on every corner and in every garage or whatever, more power to it. But right now it's happening, but it's not happening at a fast enough rate, I don't think, to support the production and the sale of the vehicle. So, you know, at some point, somebody's going to lose in this. I
kind of feel like the I can't think of the computer law right now. There's a computer law where processors get twice as fast, half as much every 18 months. And I can't remember what the name of that law right now.
It was about microchips. It was like
right. It was about processing power. But like, I feel like for kids from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we saw the tech.
Moore's law. Sorry.
Say it again.
More. MORE.
Yeah. We saw technology jump so fast from the 80s to like the year 2000. And then from 2000 to 2022 now, it's gone even faster. And so like in our heads, this stuff should be here already. Like these problems should have been but you're right. We don't have the infrastructure yet to support all of this. We're going to have to slow play it because we're taking systems that weren't ready to change and asking them to change.
California, man, you know, and you've heard this already. It's not anything that I'm coming up with off the top of my head. But when the massive summer of 100+ degree week starts happening, and air conditioners are running like crazy, and this happens every year, you know. and hey, can you turn your AC off? Can you just be dark for a few hours when the power asking you to do that?
Yeah,
you're going to have electric vehicles running around, you know, or you think you are.
No, they're not turning. You're not turning the car off just because they asked you to.
Right.
Meanwhile, I saw that they're making like huge things of fake snow for the Super Bowl, and there's like a crazy drought in California right now. They're using like 200,000 gallons of water or something, or 100,000. I can't remember exactly.
Well, they probably bought the water from the one family that owns all the water rights in California.
There you go. Let's make a deal. Yeah.
So, anyways,
the NFL has money.
let's back up a bit here. So, how did you like the Tundra? So, this is the first new Tundra since. I mean, Chris and we always joke about who was president the last time there was a new Tundra.
Not Obama.
Not Obama.
No, it was before that.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Is it still George W?
Long time.
It was before that. Yeah, that's gosh. It's been a long time, and it, you know, I guess, how do you like it? First and foremost, from a knee-jerk physical attraction standpoint, you know, that's very subjective per the person looking at it.
Yes, it is.
For every 5 people that say, "Oh my God," and that's 5 or more people say that whenever there's change in anything. I've been in this business long enough, and whenever there's a remodel or a new fascia or something like that, oh God, it looks horrible. Oh my gosh, it's that and the other. And then over time, the same people that were saying it's ugly.
Of course.
Okay.
We call that the Subaru WRX rule.
Well, in the last 6 weeks, yeah.
there you go.
Always looks worse than the one before it.
Very subjective call there. Personally, it's interesting. We had one for the 4-wheeler pickup truck of the year evaluation, and we had the TRD Pro. That it's a TRD Pro. It's a Tundra. It's a Tundra, but to me, it didn't, quote unquote, look very attractive because it had the wrong wheel and tire package on it, in my opinion. Okay, and it was the orange color, which does it for me, you know. Now go to Capstone and the wind chill white, all of the chrome on it, the 22s on it, you know, it's the same truck, but it's a different truck. And that truck actually, looks pretty good to me. And that's with the same fascia in place. They just put chrome on the fascia versus the black. So one of those deals where, you know, the same truck can look good or bad, depending on the person, and actually, there you go, depending on the way it's trimmed out.
Right. I mean, part of the problem with the TRD Pro look is the fake camo, like flare trim,
that carbon fiber-ish camo thing. I didn't understand that either, so that kind of bothered me as well. But you know, as a truck now, I think it's a really good truck, and we'll talk about the powertrain and stuff because that's really the highlight. that rig right now. But that capstone there, that's for Toyota a good move, because they need to get into that Denali space and the platinum, etc. That's a void that they had for quite a while. So it makes sense to jump into that space with this truck, with the reface of the truck.
Yeah, Toyota's top trim was only limited. Like they didn't have. Well, I guess they do have a platinum too.
They have a platinum, the 1794 edition.
Yeah, 1794.
I forgot about platinum, and I own it.
Yeah.
I have a 2008 Sequoia platinum too. So
that capstone trim has also made it to the new Sequoia. So
yes.
So I will say,
finally going after the money
on the Tundra capstone, it has that body colored piece beneath the grill and that front lip of that bumper down there. The TRD Pro is just blacked out completely, and you're kind of like, I'm lost in the void here.
What happened? Yeah, what happened? Right. So that breaker piece definitely makes a difference.
Because the Sequoia has that breaker piece too, and
yes, sir.
I love the way the Sequoia looks.
The Sequoia looks fantastic.
It looks so good.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't have 70 grand to drop on one.
No. But Land Cruiser bones, I keep saying it. Anyways, so the big headline for this generation of Tundra, aside from, a real TRD Pro, is the powertrain. So it's kind of a mild hybrid, is my understanding.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
it's,
what their wording
they
is.
call it it's one motor hybrid. I guess in standard hybrid sense, there are two electric motors in the system. Toyota has whittled that down to one, and basically it's like a donut that sits between the engine, the gas engine, and the transmission, and that's where the magic happens, if you will. It's really kind of neat the way they have it set up, and then in using it and driving with it, very impressive. The gas engine is there. And it's twin turbocharged. It's there when you need it. Torque comes in at about 2,400 RPM, somewhere like that. Okay. Torque comes in on the low side. It really kind of mimics a diesel.
It's a little diesel-y. Yeah.
It really kind of mimics a diesel the way it works. And then for your economy, etc., you have that hybrid, you have that electric that'll come in and work when it needs to, and then go back to gas, when it needs to, depending on throttle input and load, basically. So it functioned very well in the driving that we did with it. It did very, very well.
And have they gotten it to be seamless, like the actual changeover?
Yeah, there's a 10-speed behind it. And wasn't yesterday, but this week last week when I drove it, I don't even know what day it is, God.
Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
When I drove it, the drivetrain was pretty seamless as far as its transitions between gas and the electric power. You can tell when it's happening. It's not, totally invisible. You can tell when it's happening, but it isn't any. What was that? You know what I mean? It works. They work in unison pretty well.
Interesting. So is the engine and the actual transmission, is there a physical linkage between them, or is the electric mechanism physically? It's
physically in between. But bottom line is the transmission got moved back because this piece is in between. This piece is like where a bell housing would sit.
Right.
Okay? And it's directly off the back of the engine, so it's on the crank in some capacity, okay? And then that is on the transmission on the other side.
Huh. I need to poke through a diagram a little more.
I've been Googling like crazy. I cannot find a diagram. I'd be like, come on. Every manufacturer shows a diagram of the powertrain. Like, this is all I got. So for the audio listener, it's a shot of the engine cover because there's nothing else.
The plastic engine cover.
Well,
it's a battery cable.
If you go to trucktrend.com and you my story on it, there is an image that I think we'll need to see.
Nice. Oh, so the actual physical batteries though live like under the
batteries
back
sit
seat?
under the back seat. Yeah, under the under the cab, and I believe it's in the back seat area, and the inverter is in the engine compartment. If you look back at that engine photo, the inverter is just off to the passenger side by the firewall.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, they I don't know, this was a big jump because that 5.7 was out, had been around forever, and that was a thirsty engine, but it was a good engine. And one of the few like million-mile engines out there without having to break it open.
And if you look at this, it's a 3.5 liter V6, 583 pounds of torque, man. That's pretty damn good, Ross.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's substantial,
Yeah.
Shit, I mean,
Chris, you got it?
I'm trying so hard.
Okay, no, it's there. I want you to see it now because I think that'll kind of clear up what you're asking.
Yeah.
Is it the story? Is the lead image with an Airstream behind it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how you know that it's marketing material, because there's an Airstream.
Well, wait a minute. That's a photo that I took.
Hey, it's there.
Was that for?
That's a photo. That's my photo.
Truck of the year.
That's my photo. I figured that when you do stuff like this, be it magazine or online or whatever, you get someone to read it. You want to have something that's sort of compelling as far as a photo. And Toyota and all the manufacturers, when they send us out on these drives, they feed us a lot of images and everything, and they're the house photos that they've taken, but let's throw some real world in it. I like to do that. So I basically stood in the bed of a TRD Pro because I knew that someone was coming down the road with the Airstream and the capstone, and took that photo.
Nice.
I can get that one.
Jumping back and forth.
I know, but it's like he's talking about the good image though, so I want to get that. I have done that before on a press drive too, where
I think there was an Airstream in the Sequoia capstone press photo.
Yeah.
Yes, photographed by KJ Jones, folks. That's not photo.
But then we can just do a quick switch to this is so that orange is the hybrid in between.
Orange piece, yeah. And it's too bad that got cropped like that, but
yeah.
And it's actually bright orange. That's not just
you know what? Hey, Chris, do we have time to pause real quick, and I can email you a picture of that piece?
Yeah.
Or if you want it for later or something like that, I can send it to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take like a separate shot of that motor generator. They call it a motor generator.
I want to search Google for image, see what comes up. See, I was gonna see if I could. Oh, Google sucks. I have a whole bunch of images of transmissions, and none of them are that one.
No, you know what? Stand by. I have it in my phone. Let's do this. Motor generator. How do you want it? Text or email?
You can throw it in the email.
All right, hang on just a minute. Because you need this. Ross is curious.
I am. I worked at Volvo for a couple of years in the dealership when the mild hybrids were out, so I saw a lot of the insides of these things.
My favorite part is you guys can't hear my phone exploding with all of the things that are being canceled tomorrow.
Chris, what email should I send it to, Chris?
If you send it to the Off the Road Again.
Well, say it to me because I don't have it in this phone.
Off the Road Again podcast @gmail.com. All lowercase, all regular spelled.
Okay, I found a picture on another site of the full chassis, but it's hiding.
Yeah, it hides the
goods.
Okay. All right. It's on its way right now.
Okay.
That way you have it.
Yeah.
So you found this to be a good fit for the Tundra?
Yeah. And let's be clear that my familiarity with Tundra wasn't extensive because I was doing diesel. So I didn't really get into this whole global truck space until after diesel power was shut down in 2019. So the Tundra wasn't on my professional radar.
Right.
Oh,
There were rumors of this generation Tundra having a diesel. And there is one available in the global Land Cruiser
okay.
sold elsewhere, since we don't get the Land Cruiser anymore.
Well, that talk of a diesel in Tundra probably was to play with Nissan's 5-liter Cummins.
Probably.
What
a weird engine.
It was a neat engine. It was heavy. And okay, see, I had my big toe on that edge just now.
It didn't come through yet, but I'll make sure we get it on the show.
Okay. All right.
So what's coming up in your world that you're excited for?
Well, I'm
trucks, cars.
Say again?
Trucks, cars. What are you looking forward to?
From a trucks perspective, I'm just excited about whatever comes our way now. There are some other rigs I understand that might be going or should be going some facelifting and this, that, and the other. So I'm just excited about, all of that stuff happening and being able to play with them. My slogan, I guess you could say, when people ask what I do, is I play with trucks, and the coolest things ever to do. So just having more and more opportunities to do that. And what's really good is that we've been through the COVID phase and et cetera. And during that, we were on, like the rest of the country, a severe lockdown and unable to go out and get content, which for many years has been what I do. So it's very frustrating not being able to do the type of coverage that I'm used to, from tech coverage and event coverage and all that type of thing. So now that things are a little bit different, and as far as viruses and all that, the management of it, et cetera, we're given some room to breathe again and some room to move again. So I'm really excited about doing that and getting back to seeing a lot of friends and good associates and colleagues in the space, diesel, and now as I move forward in just general truck. And also, as I said earlier, the EV deal, as these trucks and stuff come along, I want to be in that number as well. I've got a trip coming up in February. Actually, it's on Valentine's Day. It's on the Love Hop. I'm going to be gone.
So you will have just completed your trip when this goes up.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Right, welcome back. Right. Okay. I just got back from.
No, but in the EV truck space, I mean, we've had Holman and Lieberman on, and they both, we talked about the Rivian.
Yeah.
They
spent
went
like
on
2 shows.
They were part of an epic drive. That country deal in the Rivian was, gosh, that's just an experience. You talk about what you do in this job and the opportunities you're afforded. That was purely epic to be able to do that. And on the other side of it, the truck really, it shined. It performed tremendously. So good for Rivian. And I've seen a couple in the wild now here in SoCal, and they look pretty good. That's one of those deals. Like we were talking about Tundra, got to grow on you. It's like, what's going on with that front end, the headlights, what's the back? But you take a few breaths and woo-saw a little, and then you think about, well, there it is. AJ Jones photo as well, I believe.
It is.
Nice pause.
I'm working. I swear, this is how I earn money.
Troll.
I just digitally stalk people constantly.
No, it's all good, Chris. It's all good. But no, it's a grow on you deal. I think that it will grow on me. It hasn't fully just yet, but it will probably grow on me. And then I haven't driven one yet either. So that's what I'm looking forward to doing at some point.
I really like the look of their SUV, that R1S. I think.
Yeah, the R1S is tight.
Yeah,
that's pretty tight. I like that.
And I can get all 4 kids in it too. Like I can just with the big battery. When they first came out, they wouldn't offer the big battery with the 3rd row seat, but now Now they're like, nah, you're good.
Yep. They realize they're going to be their biggest market.
I can pack the front with stuff and throw kids in the back.
Well, what'll be interesting to see is, and I did this last October, I drove an electric big rig. I drove Freightliner's Cascadia. Find that photo.
Oh man,
What transmission did that have?
Give me time.
What kind of gearbox did it? Was it like just
It's
automatic?
just a 1-to-1 automatic. Yeah, it's just automatic, dude. It's nothing fancy, but that in the big picture, if EV really does what the I'll call them powers that be want it to be, if that can really rock and roll, there you go. Like I said before, commerce, interstate travel and commerce and stuff. That thing is it's a full-on Class 8 Freightliner.
Wow.
That electric powered, but you have 400 and change worth of range, where big trucks right now run the road, and when they're out of range, they can get diesel fuel. You know what I mean? 400 and change worth of range right now, they're day trippers. You leave the yard, you make your delivery and get back to the yard so you can charge up overnight to go back out. That, my opinion, this is purely my opinion, that won't work in the really, really big picture of our world. That's my focus.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to find it in time.
We'll see.
Cascadia. Well, you can find the truck. Maybe not my photo this time, but the truck's out there, and it's pretty cool.
We'll see those before we see the Tesla electric semi.
The semi.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Sorry. It looks cool. I didn't think it looked like this.
Yeah.
You're hyping it up.
It looks like you wouldn't know it was electric.
Well, you're right. The one that's probably movable or is actually functioning, but like the concept one looks like it came straight out of cars.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. Can you share?
Well, I went to hit right click, open and tab a new image, and I hit right click, save as, and now I got the rainbow wheel of patience.
All right. Well,
just let me cancel it. We're good. Here we go. Okay. Open image and new tab. I know we're getting late, Ross.
We're pushing on time here, but
Ross.
He's East Coast.
East Coast.
He's got work. See that?
There she is.
That's the truck from the opening scene of Cars. Yes.
Right. But it's not. That's their concept that they put out. So
it's like the electric G-Wagon. It's like it was going to be the same thing, just with some different lights.
The actual truck. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Come on, while I'm still sharing, it's so embarrassing.
Cool.
My gosh.
When computers fight back.
I hear Ross saying, "We get it. We get it."
I did do the large one.
This is amusing.
This is all I do during the show. If anybody's ever wondering, that one's still too small.
Oh,
good Lord.
318 pixels.
I know. Yeah. They say they're huge, and then when you actually click on them, it's like, no, it's tiny. There we go. 1400.
There's something you can use. There
I want to see
that looks
electric,
good too.
You know that they do the Freightliner racing where it's just the front cab. I want to see electric Freightliners race.
Well, that's like the E. I watched the other night, Formula One or
Formula E.
Yeah, Formula E. Yeah, same thing's the same thing, right?
yeah.
I need to look up how the Porsche team did. We're kind of rooting for those guys, so they haven't won anything yet, I don't think.
Well, Acura won this past weekend.
Yes, they did.
Again, but
that actually was the end of my trip. Was like the last 30 minutes of that race. And so my 10-year-old was in the back of the truck being like, oh my gosh, Helio. Oh my gosh. I was like, I guess I'm not watching that later.
Spoiler. Yeah, you're not sitting down to watch.
But the two Porsches, like on the last lap, banging doors as they're going across the bus stop chicane was fantastic. I think it's great.
Yep.
Oh, well, sweet. KJ, anything you want to plug?
Trucktrend.com, MotorTrend.com. Simple math, man. Check us out, dial us up, and see what's happening in the latest in truck and off-road. Let me not forget my brethren on the four-wheeler side, fourwheeler.com. So let's go. Fourwheeler.com, Trucktrend.com, MotorTrend.com. Put them in any order you want to put them in, but make sure you dial them up and see what we got going on. And on Instagram, you find me at Big Cage, BIGGKAJE.
had to scroll like crazy to get back to the top of that so I can share your profile one last time. I was deep looking for that Freightliner.
Yeah, you guys are doing some cool shit. I'll throw it out there. I'm one of the daily visitors on those sites. So
Right on.
keep it up, man. Keep it
These
up.
Christmas shoots are hilarious.
It was hot as blazes out there, and they had us in that Christmas stuff, man. It's
Really?
the worst, dude.
Dude, it hasn't been hot here in a long. I shouldn't say that. It was 59 degrees yesterday. Now it's gonna be sub tomorrow. Like I shouldn't say it hasn't been hot here. It was warm. 59 is warm when you're used to 15.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I'm gonna wrap it up real fast. You can rate and review the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. KJ did his Instagram. You can follow Hooniverse, the Hooniverse on Twitter, the Real Hooniverse on Instagram. You can read what we write on Hooniverse. I can't do any weed. I'm in Kansas. That's not legal. You can read what we write on Hooniverse, UTV driver, ATV rider, everyday driver, and coming soon to US News and World Report.
Ooh.
Somebody got a new writing gig.
Bravo.
Good job.
Nice, man.
I have 2 assignments, so that's real.
Right on.
Do your
Hopefully by
homework.
the time this is out, at least one of them's up. So
Yes.
you can follow Ross at No Not Like the One from Friends, and I'm at Overlanding Dad. And we did it. That's our show. Thank you, KJ.
That's it.
Thank you guys, Chris and Ross, man. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you. Thank you. You're welcome back anytime.
No doubt.